All right, Adoree Jackson, prestigious player, possibly getting his name circulated in the Heisman hype. This has been Lamar Jackson's trophy since early in the season, but 2 consecutive losses to fairly marginal teams, especially Kentucky, makes this possibly something that could be up in the air.
Yeah, and the thing about Lamar Jackson too is all the things we sort of were able to gloss over or overlook, like narrow wins against a dreadful Virginia team. All of those now come sort of bubbling to the surface. So now you've got Lamar Jackson, Jabril Peppers is out there, Jake Browning is out there, but Adoree Jackson's name really hasn't come up until very recently. It's sort of like this vacuum opened up when it's no longer Lamar Jackson's has a stranglehold on it. And if he's going to get there to get invited to the ceremony, he had a heck of a game against Notre Dame. He made a heck of a statement. He had a kick return for a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown. He had a 52-yard receiving touchdown. I think he had 220, 250 all-purpose yards in that game. I mean, he really did it all against Notre Dame. Broke that game wide open at the end of the first half, I might add. Notre Dame was hanging in there with him. He intercepted Browning twice. He held Alabama's best receiver to just 2 catches on 9 yards, he was sort of the lone bright spot in that Alabama game. So he's done just about everything, but so much of the Heisman is just about hype, I feel like, and who's getting the most hype, who's getting the most media attention. And he really hasn't gotten that sort of national hype this season until very recently. So his name's only started to percolate since that Washington game, and then serious consideration didn't happen until after Notre Dame. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get in over Jabril Peppers or Browning or Jackson, but maybe he gets an invite. It's a long shot that he wins, if at all, but I think it's worthy of consideration for the invite.
So, Nick, I'm not buying it for what you just stated. He got into it a little bit too late. Now, if he was going to be playing a Pac-12 championship game, especially in a rematch against a team that's fighting for college football playoff berth, the 4th-ranked team in the country, that would have been intriguing, because it's almost Heisman by default the way this thing's playing out, because Lamar Jackson, as we stated off the top, this was his trophy. But a guy that's got a 9-3 football team that's lost to 2 fairly marginal teams to close, it just doesn't seem like he's really gone out there and won it. Not taking anything away from his athleticism, because he's a great athlete, but nobody's really risen to the occasion. And now you have a number of really good football teams, and it seems like the best teams in the nation, if you consider Alabama, Ohio State on down the line, don't necessarily have one guy that they can serve on a platter as their Heisman Trophy candidate.
And how likely are the Heisman voters, who we know aren't, I don't want to say the most observant bunch, but they don't watch a lot of the games that they probably should. And so how likely are they to change their mind this late this season? Yeah, Lamar Jackson didn't look impressive, but there's really, I think they're still probably stuck on him unless someone comes and takes it away from him. And I don't think anyone's done that I know of. So I think they'll probably just stick with Lamar Jackson. Maybe somebody this weekend comes out and does something mind-blowing. Maybe Jake Browning goes out and has 10 touchdowns or something. I suppose it's possible, but I don't see it. I think they're going to stick with Lamar Jackson. Adoree doesn't have any more opportunities to get in front of these people, these voters, so it's unlikely, but it sure would be nice if he came back for his final season next year and made a go of it.
So, Nick, to your point, my faith in the media's judgment when it comes to these awards maybe reached a certain low when Christian McCaffrey was robbed, I believe, of the Heisman Trophy. And yesterday, the aforementioned Jabril Peppers was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Now, is Jabril Peppers possibly the best athlete in the Big Ten? That could be argued. Is he the best defensive player in the Big Ten. He is not. He's fourth on his own team in tackles. He intercepted a deflected pass against Ohio State. That was his first career interception. He's not in double digits in sacks or tackles for loss. He's just a freak of an athlete that they line up all over the place. And he came in as the number one rated player in America, so he already had that buzz around him. And it seems like people just vote based on name recognition to a certain extent when he had more worthy players on his own Michigan defense vying for Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Now, if you're talking about overall Jim Thorpe Award, you can do everything. He's the guy.
Yeah. I think McCaffrey not winning was a pretty low point in recent memory. Also, and this might be just sort of sour grapes, but Manti Te'o finishing second in the Heisman race when I don't think he was even the best linebacker in the country that year, let alone the most, the best player, or excuse me, the most outstanding player. It was a heck of a story, so you got to give him that. But I just think it's about hype and who's getting in front of the voters' attention. So honestly, I think ESPN's Sports Center has just as much, if not more, impact on who wins the Heisman than any of the players themselves do. But yeah, McCaffrey was kind of a low point. The fact that it took the quarterback from Oregon, whose name is escaping me now, took him 2 amazing years to get the Heisman.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, there you go. The fact that it took Mariota 2 incredible years just to finally get in front of the Heisman and get voters and get his attention makes me wonder if maybe this should go to like the best player in the Confederacy or the best player on the Eastern Seaboard, perhaps. It does not seem like a national award to me, but perhaps I'm bitter out on the West Coast here. We're not getting a lot of love, but they vote how they vote. So I guess that's the way it's going to go.
Bitterness is actually, for the sports fans, supposed to be segregated to the Northeast, not the West Coast. We don't think about West Coast fans being bitter. That just doesn't happen.
It's because we don't set couches on fire after rivalry games. That's why they think we don't care.